people are saying that the greedy union members and Teamsters were making it difficult. Do you see how what I'm getting at here? Where it's just kind of funny how we're so easy to say, "Hey, guys, what do you, why don't you just take these rates? Why don't you just these? This is exactly the type of stories that come out of these papers like Hollywood Reporter, like you see all these anonymous comments, hey, the Teamsters are
Yeah.
really difficult to work with. Guess what? They're being paid and they get ad dollars from these studios. They're in bed with the studios, and this is how the reporting goes. Now, but I just
Yeah.
want to say that because a lot of people are going to say, hey, guess what? The reason why everyone's leaving Atlanta is because the greedy Teamsters were making it difficult. And that's a lot of what people were saying in LA when all of us were striking. They were like, hey, you union guys, hey, you guys fought for so many wages and so many regulations. Well, guess what? You just scared off work. So this is kind of like the balance we're trying to find. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I that's always the first, that's always the go-to, isn't it? That like, oh,
Exactly.
the unions are the problem. Like it's always demonizing unions as if, well, they're the reason. And it's when another point I've heard a few people say lately is like, stars have to stop taking such big wages. They have to stop taking
Yeah.
20 million or 10
Well, that's
million
fair.
or 6
That's fair.
million or whatever. So there's the responsibility. I feel like everybody has an agenda when it comes to laying the blame at someone else's feet. And unions, I'm not a big fan of people demonizing unions. I understand that unions are not perfect by any means, and there are issues there, but like, collective bargaining is the only power we have, and actors have little enough power as it is.
Yeah.
So without a union to go to bat for you, you haven't really got anything. You know what I mean? Like there's already a lot of exploitation, I think, of how much people love doing this. Like there's a lot of
Yeah,
cost involved.
it's easy to take
staying.
advantage of someone who loves
Very
doing it,
easy.
for
Yeah,
sure.
of course,
Yeah.
because you'll put up with a lot. I've heard someone is an interesting thing. Like someone was saying, like, I'll put up with a lot as an actor. A lot of unfairness. He's like, but I won't put up with that in my part-time job, my part-time
Yeah,
service
yeah,
industry job.
exactly,
I won't
exactly.
put up with anything like the same level of, treatment that in my
Yeah.
part-time job as I will in acting. But he's like, but as an actor, I put up with it all the time. And I
Yeah,
thought
that's a
an
great way to put it.
an interesting
That's spot
distinction.
on.
Yeah.
That's spot on. And just to echo that point, we need actors, and we need power players, celebrities, stars, showrunners, creators to make a stand, and that goes into stay in LA. That goes
Yeah.
into, hey, making an effort. LA might be more costly, but this is where a lot of the talent is,
Yeah.
and what are people going to do? And maybe money's not everything.
Sure.
Anyway, so let's get into this. I don't want to oversell it, but this is a little better news. This is a 2008 article, The Hollywood Reporter. Runaway production, part of industry history. This was actually in 2008, and they were talking about Hollywood productions running away across the world. So
Wow.
this is kind of my point where if this came out today, we would have not bat an eyelash because this is exactly what we're dealing with. It goes into a story about Kirk Douglas was shooting a movie in 1958. Um, in 1956, New York Times reported that dozens of Hollywood sound stages were dark, while 18 of the 39 films in production shot overseas. This is in 1956. 18 of the 39 films that were shot overseas. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, just a little aside. So my grandfather, my mom's dad,
Oh, I
was
think you mentioned
involved.
this.
Yeah, he was involved he worked for the Board Fáilte, the Irish Tourist Board, and his job was to attract foreign production to Ireland. So it was his job to essentially package and sell locations in Ireland to to basically sell crews and sell productions on coming to Ireland to shoot. So he was instrumental in getting the film Ryan's Daughter shot in Dunquin in Kerry, and that was, I don't know what year that was. I must look up
That's
the
a
year
big
of the
deal.
movie, but yeah, it was a big deal, and it changed. it brought so much money into that region. 1970, Ryan's daughter was shot in. So that was part of, that was part of that push to get films overseas. Because I think probably, originally in its inception, everything was shot in Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because like that was just where movies were. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly. So just paint a picture here. This is 1956. They had to overcome language barriers, cultural divides, regulations and fees. Inadequate facilities and services. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in 1956. Obviously, things have changed drastically over the years with technology. 1952, they created a council to stop runaway production. They say here from 1963 to 1973, it continued with a vengeance. Runaway productions. All these things were happening. Okay, They were calling it the end of Tinseltown, the end of Hollywood. And here's the kicker. It didn't happen. Local production between 1980 and 1997 grew in LA at a rate of 200% employment, 250% for business. Now, obviously, I'm not saying this is going to happen again. I'm saying this is really interesting, part of our history, and we would pray that, hey, it's gonna swing back around, and these things are cyclical. So, and according to Kirk Douglas, the last line of this, my recollection is that no crew was as good as a Hollywood crew, no matter where they were. There's no argument that it's much easier to shoot a movie here. Now, that's true. That's true. There is a lot of Hollywood. There's a lot of history. Now the question is are studios going to pay a premium to keep productions in LA? And I offer, sometimes it's not all about the money.